Hey everybody, hopefully you're having a good day. We are going to start with a riddle today. How do you spell candy with two letters? So if you want to try this, go ahead and pause the video. How do you spell candy with two letters? And the answer is C and Y. Get it? Because C and Y spells candy. I like that one. Hopefully you do too. I'm sure some of you are not liking it, but that's okay. All right, we're going to review today, and you're going to need to get out a couple things. Get out a board and marker as we practice a little bit. You can have out a calculator, although I don't think everybody will need it, and then you will also need out this packet, and I told you guys to write Tuesday at the top. If you lost it, I will have a PDF version in the classroom that you are welcome to just work off of, and you can do your answers on paper, or you can print it off if you have a printer at home. All right, so the first thing we're going to do to review today, it says is, what is an expression? Okay, we've talked about this a lot this year. An expression is going to, and you can write this on your board and pause the video, that's my preference for you during these. An expression is going to have two things. If it's algebraic, it's going to have a variable, it's going to have an operation, but there is going to be no equal sign. So an example of an expression, again, pause the video, would be like 8y, c plus 2, r minus 3, e divided by 5. Those are all expressions. Okay, what is an equation? So similarly to an expression, if it's algebraic, it's going to have a variable, it's going to have an operation. I was just making sure that I said no equal to for expressions. Equations have an equal sign. That's the big difference there. Okay, equations have equal signs. So you need to make sure that if it's an equation, there is an equal sign. Expressions do not. So in the last problem, no equal sign for expressions, equations do. So we're talking like c plus 2 equals 5. 8y equals 56. Now, how do we solve equations? We do the inverse. So why don't you pause the video and try the inverse for both of these? Okay. And then we, of course, have the check step. Instead of multiply by 8, we divide by 8. We get y equals 7, and the check step gives us 56. Okay, finally, we've talked about inequalities. So an inequality is a greater than, less than, greater than or equal to, less than or equal to. So b is greater than 2. So if I was graphing this, it would look like this. If c is less than or equal to 3, it would look like this. Okay, we still solve them just like equations because we need to get the variable alone so that we can see the direction of the arrow. All right, and what number it's on. Okay. So in front of you now, I'm going to give you guys a minute to grab this if you haven't yet, is this worksheet. And we're going to go through some of this together, and then I'd like you guys to finish it. This is going to be a little bit more challenging because there's story problems in this video. So I really want to make sure that you're paying attention as we go over these. Okay? What I'm going to do is I'm going to do one, and then you can do one. And so I suggest that you sort of do this along with the video because every problem that I do, the one that you're going to do is going to be almost set up identical. Okay? So the first one says, Mrs. Westhoven is an avid bungee jumper. Bet you didn't know that. Or am I making it up? You'll just have to see. She cannot wait to go on her next jump. She's already saving money. So far, Mrs. Westhoven has saved $181.25. She needs to save a total of $250. How much does she still need to save? Write an equation and solve. So my first clue to you is this. You are going to push the big number all the way to the right. If you push the big number to the right, it's going to force you to write the equation. Now think about this. She's already saved $181.25 plus whatever money she still needs, and now we would do the inverse in order to solve this. So instead of adding $181.25, I would subtract it on both sides to get my variable alone so that I can get my answer. And when I do this, Mrs. Westover would still need $68.75. Okay? For the next problem, you're going to do it very, very similar. The numbers are bigger. All right? But you're going to be making an equation. You're going to push the big number to the right, and you're going to set up an adding an algebraic equation, and then you're going to do the inverse, which will be subtraction. Okay. Some of these are old names. Somebody that used to work in our building, Mrs. Bear. Number 3, decides to open a fish cleaning business. So give me 1 second here. And I'm going to scroll on my iPad. So she has already, oops, and I lost some of this. Okay, there we go. All right, Mrs. Bear has already cleaned 7 people's catch of walleye. There are 11 more people in line. How many people caught walleye that wanted Mrs. Bear to clean them total? Write an equation and solve. So what do I know? I know there's 11 more people in line. That's my big number, and we're always going to push that to the right. If she's already cleaned 7, that's subtracting 7 from the amount of fish she had, which is what the question's asking. So now it's going to force us to do the inverse. Instead of subtracting 7, we're going to add 7. And F is going to equal 18 fish. I'm not going to make you guys do the check step. Now for number 4, you're going to do a very similar problem to number 3. Look at how the setup is in 3, and then you will know what you need to do for 4. Okay, again, you do not have to do the check step, but your problem in number 4 is going to look pretty much just like 3 with different numbers. Okay, let's go on to the next page. Mr. Tanzel is selling his autograph. I know, you guys are excited. You want to get in line. I get it. At first, nobody wants it. After a while, some students feel bad and offer him 32 cents per autograph. Real big clue right here is the word per, which usually means to multiply. Mr. Tanzel made a total of $256. So here are the numbers that we have. If he made $256, that's my big number. Again, if you take the big number and slide it to the right, it forces you to do the inverse. If he made 32 cents per autograph, I'm going to multiply 32 cents by the amount of autographs, which is what I don't know. I don't know how many autographs I had. When I divide this, okay, the amount of autographs would be 8. So number 6 is going to be set up just like number 5. All right? Okay. And you guys can do that on your own. I highly suggest you pause the video, and if you do these as we go, it's not going to be a ton of work for you today when we're done. Okay, we're going to go down to number, I'll go down to number 7. And it says, Mr. Chipka decided to bake for all of his students. Sounds yummy, right? Mr. Chipka baking for you guys? Why are you making that face? You don't think he's a good baker? What if he was the best baker ever and no one knew? He is famous for his his chip crunch cookies. They're made out of 3 different types of peppers. Now you're feeling it. He divides his cookies so each person in our team would get 3 cookies. If there are 88 students in our team, how many cookies did he bake total? Write an equation and solve. So for this one, we know there's 3 cookies per kid. All right. There's 88 students total. So again, I'm going to push my big number to the right. And some of you have already thought of this. We haven't done division yet. We're taking the total cookies divided by 3. And so instead of dividing by 3, we're going to multiply by 3. And when we do this, we get the total cookies in our team, which is 264 cookies. I bet somebody was wondering, couldn't you just do this? 88 times 3 equals C is your answer. And the answer is yes. I prefer this, but I couldn't say that this is wrong as long as you solve it. Okay, number 8 is going to be a problem about Mr. Barnes eating raw hamburger. Set it up just like number 7. And I'm going to kind of walk you through the rest of this packet. Numbers 9, 10, 11, and 12, you're going to do the inverse. Remember, the inverse of adding is to subtract. The inverse of subtraction is addition. The inverse of multiplication is division. The inverse of division is multiplication. For 11 and 12, those are two-step equations. We always get rid of the addition or subtraction first. 13, 14, and 15 are everybody's favorite, the inequalities. 16 and 17, you have to solve. When you solve, you need to make sure you're doing the inverse. So we need to get y alone, then graph. Solve first with the inverse, then graph. On the back are some of these combo problems. If c minus 8 equals 18, then what is the value of 2 times c minus 20? Please solve for c, then substitute it into the expression. Same thing for 19. And 20 and 21, I'd like you to write a sentence to answer those. So I've walked you through the packet. Do your best. When you come in tomorrow morning to our classroom, there'll be a video with an answer key for you to check these. I think you guys will do really well, and you'll bring this with you when you come on Thursday. Have a great rest of your day. You guys are awesome.